Hello and welcome to the Pete Braley Show. Thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. On this show, we shine the spotlight on people that have had an impact and made life better here on the South Coast and in Greater New Bedford. Our guest today, if you spend any time on social media, you have probably seen a video from this guy or maybe his whole show. He loves to laugh. Let's welcome Paul Santos.
Hey,
welcome.
Great to see you, Pete.
I'm sorry I don't have a band like you do.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Can we get a band for next year? Can we put that in the budget? So, we've got so much to cover here. Paul's the host of the Paul Santos Show. How long have you been doing that?
You know, it's interesting. It started as a podcast, right?
Okay.
It was a podcast on New Bedford Guide. We were in kind of like a studio, just alone. I started interviewing people. Then I figured, well, let me have people come in and sing. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll have a comedian come in. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll have a little band on the side. And then the next thing you know, I morphed it into the Tonight Show, which is my favorite show of all time.
You told me at one point, and by the way, thank you. He's had me on his show a couple of times. You told me one time that you kind of gear that monologue. The whole show, right, is the old Johnny Carson?
That's what we're going for, you know, and it's a very difficult thing to do, but we're having so much fun trying, I have to tell you. And then once we moved it to different restaurants, we finally found a home up at Mikey B's, a nice little, I called the people that are there my studio audience, because that way there's an effect on what we're saying when we're making a joke or the band's playing.
Right.
You know, it's not just, you know, quiet and so forth. So having it out on location, and they've been great at Mikey B's, that really, really made it much better.
So we'll get into that. Paul and I have actually known each other, I was trying to think the other day, early 80s?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
On WMYS.
Yes,
right?
That's right, 98.1.
That's it. I think I worked Saturday mornings at 6 to 10, and you came in after me, I think is how that works.
And WNBH, the AM. Yeah.
And we played on the softball team, right?
That's right,
Foul
absolutely.
balls.
I think we did all right. I don't think I would do as well now. But
No. In fact, one of the radio stations I worked at, they had a softball team, and they say, "Hey, Pete, come on out and play." So I went out, and I tried to take a ground ball, and I could not get my glove to the ground without my back hurting, and I was like, "I'm done."
Imagine that.
I am done.
You were a good ball player back in the day, I thought.
Yeah, felt pretty good. Thank you. Yeah, felt pretty good. You realize, though, that maybe if you wanted to make some money, radio was not the way to go, right? At one point, you love the media, but you've got a real job too. He's a lawyer, folks.
Yeah, imagine that. Yeah, if you watch the monologue, you probably think this guy's got his Juris Doctor degree. That can't be right. There must be something wrong. Doesn't mean that people that are in that field don't have a sense of humor. You have to be an attorney as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the long story is, to try to make a long story short, I always loved broadcasting like yourself. I used to go to bed, listen to the radio. I love the radio. I used to listen to Ken Coleman call the Red Sox games, and I'd listen to different DJs and the big stations all around the country, and I'd scroll around. And I fell in love with broadcasting. Love play-by-play. So I'm coming up the ranks, and I'm trying to decide, should I do that full time, or should I go in the other field, which was law, because my dad was a probation officer. So when I was a kid, I used to go down to court, and I'd see trials going on with different attorneys and stuff like that, and I thought that was really cool. And then when it came to the fork in the road, I'm like, Ray, if I want to stay in one spot, get married, and raise a family, and not be in fear for all the crazy stuff that has in broadcasting, as you know, I just played it safe and became an attorney and decided to do the broadcasting on the side.
Yeah, there are a few of us that have managed to stay in our hometown. I managed to do it somehow. Yeah. I don't know how.
But as many as there are of you, there are a lot of them that didn't work out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So what, I know there's different types of law. What do you focus on?
Well, I started my career as a prosecutor, believe it or not. I was in the DA's office for almost 7 years under Ron Pina, that's how far back we go, and then Paul Walsh. Then I left and went into practice, and then I started doing what's called care and protection cases. These are cases in juvenile court where a determination is made that children are not being raised properly, that the parents are unfit. A lot of times the children have to be removed from the parents, so there's proceedings that deal with that, with the goal initially being reunification, but a lot of times if it doesn't work out, parental rights can be terminated. And then about 15 years ago, I started doing evictions for the New Bedford Housing Authority, and I've been over there at Housing Court every Friday for 15 years, not only handling the Housing Authority cases, but picked up many of my own cases in terms of landlords and tenants dealing with that whole process. So that's pretty much what I'm doing now.
So this show must be a good outlet, because all that's serious.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's funny. I am a very serious person. It's hard to tell from watching the Paul Santos live show.
And when I started the show by saying you love to laugh,
I do.
Yeah.
I laugh. I think everything is funny, so I love comedy. I love the original Tonight Show, that whole format with the band and the sidekick and Ed McMahon and everybody laughing. And so that's what I'm trying to bring in that show. And that definitely is an outlet, no question about it.
Right. Your show has, as mine has too, and the whole career actually, your show has morphed into what it is now. I remember the first time I was on your podcast, I think, I went to your law office and you had a blue curtain and we just stood in front of it. And that was the set.
That was the whole set. That's where it started. I remember that. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. When you came to my office, I don't know what you were expecting.
I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, I'm going to a law office to tape a video show. And
then you came in and because you have a sense of humor like I do, you said, I like your palatial setting over here, Santos. What's going on? I thought it was great, But yeah, we started with that. And then
you did that for a while and then COVID hit, right? And you had to get creative.
That's right. We started to do the show, during the COVID period, just by streaming it, like on a, kind of like a Zoom thing, but it's hard to have a band playing and a comedian and all that on Zoom.
You actually interviewed me on that show. I was in Virginia talking about my book. And I was in Virginia, you were in New Bedford, but you kind of put that together through whatever website or whatever thing.
Yeah, I even tried to do the monologue on Zoom, and that was you think the monologue's bad when I'm in front of people. You should see it when I'm, And then I had a comedian on, he's like, you're actually doing the monologue staring off into space? That's amazing, Yeah, so it was it was difficult for the format I was trying to achieve.
I could not figure out, and people might not be aware of this if they watch your show, but when you watch your show and he's doing the monologue, you have like a big piece of cardboard with index cards on it, right? And I was as we were doing the show, I was trying to figure out the jokes aren't written there. Are they just like thought starters for you?
Yeah,
reminders?
Exactly. It's sort of like an outline.
Yeah. So it's not cue cards. It's
no, I can't afford cue cards.
Oh, okay.
So I get this board and I put it like below the camera. And I just kind of glance down every once in a while to see what I'm going to say next,
Right.
And it's funny because we kid around about it, I've taken some minor comedy courses, even online and in person, and how to take a headline and make a joke out of it and all that. And every week to come up with that, I try to get 6 or 7 zingers in there, and just from headlines during the week, and it's fun to do, but it takes a while to do it.
Yeah. Speaking of you said taking lessons and things for comedy. You took singing lessons.
Oh, yes. That's another thing, yeah.
And I'm kind of amazed at that. Now, I got to salute you because at our age, and be honest with me, you're the oldest person in the singing group, aren't you? It's with Sharon Jensen,
yeah,
right?
By a lot, actually. There's actually another gentleman, a Nilton DeAndre, and he joined, and he's like maybe 45. So when she puts on these shows, I'm like, Nilton, are you going? Because I'm not going to go down there. It's me and a lot of the kids are 15, 16, 18, and they're all from great families. They're very supportive. They see me come down. Hey, we love hearing you sing as well.
What prompted you to do that?
I think it's where we are in our lives. You have a book here, I'm not done yet. I feel the same way. I just turned 65. I got on a Medicare, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. It scares the heck out of you. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, let's be realistic. We're getting closer and closer to the finish line. So I just don't want to leave anything unturned. No stone turned over. So I thought, what, I always wanted to learn how to sing. And so I started doing it and doing it more, and it's an absolute blast. I actually made it to the finals of a karaoke contest in Fall River.
Did you really?
The finals of the top 10. So it's still considered the finals, but they started out with like 50 people. And I was doing my whole Sinatra gig.
I was going to say, you're a crooner, right?
Yeah, I'm a crooner. Yeah, exactly. So that's my sweet spot. But it's so much fun, and it's therapeutic too.
I read a meme once that said, when you're at the point where you have more years behind you than in front of you, your whole perspective changes. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm done, but I mean, you do that. You're like,
absolutely.
Well, why don't I take that step? Why don't I learn to sing?
Not only are there more years behind me, there are a lot more years behind me, I think, if you really want to look at the actuary table. Yeah, so I just want to say to myself, I wanted to try everything. I didn't want to be afraid to try something, so I just want to check all the boxes I can.
There you go. You had a show here at New Bedford Cable, right? New Bedford Connections?
Yep.
Okay. And then you went on and did all these different shows. Where do people see you now? Because you pop up on my Facebook page because I follow you. So
I hope that's a good thing.
is it a YouTube show, New Bedford Guy? I know you're on Channel 6 too now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. When my show pops up, do you hit the X or you kind of hang in there for a few
I
minutes?
check out, see who you got. Yeah.
No, so what happened was we were doing it on New Bedford Guide, right? And so a lot of times, if you have a track that's playing, Facebook will tag it and say, hey, you can't play
Right,
that
you don't
track.
have the rights to that.
So then I have to deal with rights and all that. So we drifted off from New Bedford Guide. So it's on my own page, Paul Santos Live Show, Paul J. Santos. It's on this channel here, New Bedford Cable Network, every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
And that's the 1 hour version. And then on Channel 6, it's on Sunday mornings, 11:30, a half-hour version that I edit down to half an hour. So, like if the show's an hour and I trim it down to half an hour, I feel like I can make it a nice, good, keep the funny stuff, keep all
Right.
the good stuff in there, and it moves out quickly. And we have a joke about it because we're on right after the Catholic Mass. So I'm trying not to be too silly because people are very serious,
Sure,
obviously,
sure.
and then it goes right into our show. But yeah, 11:30 on Channel 6 on Sunday morning. So that's nice. We get to reach, a Rhode Island audience and so forth.
Right. And you also do a lot of high school sports, right?
Yeah, still doing that. I know you do it too. It's a lot of fun. I did a lot in
Keeps you young.
Yeah, I did a lot back in the old Channel 13 days, of course, and then I covered New Bedford High School. Then I did some of it here at New Bedford Cable Network, and then started doing some in Dartmouth, where my kids grew up. Do hockey, do basketball, do football with Jim Thompson and Andrew Thompson. My son Andrew Santos does hockey color since he played the game and knows the game and everything.
Right.
So yeah, we do play-by-play and of the high school games, and that's a blast as well.
What people may not know is that you do your show standing up, you do the sports standing up, and the reason he's in a different chair, you've got a serious back issue that
Yeah.
people may not be aware of.
Yeah, I had a back.
Are you okay?
Well, yeah, I can kind of move around and I can sit for some periods of time, but I have to be careful what kind of chair I sit in. And what brings me most comfort is standing up. So I keep moving around. I can get in the car for a little bit. And actually, when I have my car, I tilt it this way, tilt it that way, move it this way. And then I find that right spot. I'm like, nobody move the seat.
And I run the seat warmer year round.
Oh, is that right?
Not to warm me up, it's from the back.
Yeah, yeah. So I had a real difficult time. I was in a lot of pain for months after that surgery, and I thought,
You had
oh
back
my
surgery?
God. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
in my case, it was a disaster. So you have to be careful when you're making that decision whether to have a back surgery. It's not an easy one, and I do regret that one.
Yeah. Tell me about, is it difficult to put your show together? Is it every week? Or
Yes.
you try to do every week?
Yes, what we do is we do a 1 hour show almost every week. It's not every week. I'd say 3 out of 4 anyway.
Monday nights at
Monday
Mikey
nights,
B's.
and we take off the holidays and different things like that. I go to Florida in February, so there's a few weeks that we're not there, but it's every Monday, pretty much 7 o'clock at Mikey B's. They have a little room on the side, which is really nice because we're not interfering with people that are at the bar watching a hockey game or the basketball game or something. So we have our own little room. We do the interviews. As far as preparation, I have to get a guest every week. I try to get one singer.
What do you have, 3 a week?
3 a week. I have one singer. Then I have a woman by the name of Joanna Raposa, who's a stand-up comic. She's my comedy director. She gets me a comedian every week. And then I have a third person guest who is like yourself, who comes on like a person of interest. Not that kind of person of interest.
I'm talking to a lawyer here.
Yeah, a person of interest. So we try to have 3 guests, at least 2, but maybe 3. And then we have, some people like Crazy Casey, this funny guy that comes
Jim
on at the
Casey,
end.
yeah.
He comes on and does
Yeah.
his Foster Brooks, and then I try to get through the monologue, and we get the people on the side cracking jokes. Gary Langevin has been back helping me out. We had Chops Turner there. We had a guy by the name of Ronnie Calder. So we've had different band members. Immuter used to be a band at the beginning. So yeah, trying to have that whole format, that one that I grew up with, that original Tonight Show, that's kind of what we're going for.
Do you have a rehearsal, or do you guys just get up and do it?
No, we just do it.
Just let it roll, huh?
Yeah. I mean, you do interviews. I find that, especially if it's a short interview, like this is half an hour, but like, our show, we have segments. So an interview might be 7 minutes. And a lot of times I think sometimes the less I know, the better. If I have somebody
True.
I never met before, I tell them, oh, pretend you came to my house and we never met and you sat on the couch and I went, hey, how are you? I'm Paul. What's going on? What do you tell me something about yourself? Blah, blah. And the next thing you know, it goes off into something that is very fresh.
I've had I don't mentor a lot of people, but I've had some people ask me about interviewing and this, that, and the other. The biggest lesson that I try to tell people is listen to your guest. Because I've got questions for you right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm listening to what you say because that's going to trigger. We have a conversation that way.
Yeah, right.
As opposed to, what did I read? Erin Andrews recently, the sideline reporter for Fox. She recently said also. She said, "Don't be so concerned about getting to your next question that you don't hear what your guest just said."
Right. I made that mistake a couple of times.
Oh, we all have.
At the beginning of my career, it's like tell me about what happened in the first quarter. Well, I think my coach is an idiot. Okay, what happened in the second quarter?
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, why is he an idiot? You missed that.
Yeah, so you put something, I didn't listen to the answer. So you always have to listen to the answer. And actually, the best questions are from what you heard.
Right. Talking about sports, you also have been doing, what, on the podcast or on your Facebook page, you've been doing, what is it, Santos and Santos on Sports?
Yeah, Santos on Sports.
Santos on
with Chris Santos.
And no relation.
Right, no relation.
And now you're bringing it to radio, right?
Yeah, and that is the same Chris Santos that you hear doing games here in your Bedford Cable Network. He's been working with Joe Cabral for, he told me the other day, about 17 years. Yeah, we decided to do a podcast. It was actually funny. The idea was my son, Dylan, who moved to Boston. We started at Santos on Sports, him and I, Santos. So then one day he couldn't make it, and Chris Santos filled in. And we had a joke about, we got the same last name, Santos on Sports, so you can keep it the way my son was keeping it, right?
Right.
But then my son moved to Boston and had children, and, so then I said, Chris, why don't you just keep doing it? So we kept doing it, and then now we've heard that we're going to be bringing it to radio.
It'll be on WBSM on Saturday mornings?
Yeah, so what happened was I started filling in on WBSM, and I enjoy it. I go in there and take the phone calls and all that. And then they gave me a spot Saturday morning, 7 to 9, general topic. A lot of it, of course, current affairs. We don't like the mayor. We don't like the city council. What's going on nationally, of course, we could talk about for 5 hours. And although I like it and I think I can do it, it's, obviously I'm an attorney, I can debate anything. It's not really my main cup of tea. I would much rather talk sports. So we're going to give it a shot and see if we can bring back a local version of, sports talk show to start the weekend. All week you can talk about that stuff, but maybe Saturday morning after working a whole week, maybe, hey, we'll lighten it up a little bit and talk sports.
Right. So how many different things are you doing here? Number one, you got a job. You're a lawyer.
Yes.
And you've got the Paul Santos Show you do at Mikey B's. You have the occasional high school football game, or probably a couple a week, right?
Yes.
Now you've got Santos on sports. Am I missing anything, or?
No, I don't think so. No, it's definitely enough. My wife's like, wow, are you overscheduled? Because sometimes I think, I'm just a little bit too overscheduled here. But, I just want to make sure I get everything in. The only other thing I can think of, obviously, is I'm a father and now a grandfather.
Oh, yes.
So I've got a 3-year-old, Samuel Santos, and I've got a 1-year-old, Summer Santos. My son has 2 children, so hey, we're grandparents too. So
isn't that great?
Isn't that awesome? Yeah, it is. I know. I used to do a thing. What was it called with your?
I'm still doing. I'm doing it with my newest grandson. It's called Raising Grandpa.
Yeah, Raising Grandpa.
The idea was he's raising me. He's teaching me how to be a grampy. So I started it with my first grandson, he's 6 now, and I had him handed off to Carson, who lives in Acushnet, and.
It's wonderful.
Yep. And I should say, I'm not ignoring my granddaughter. It's just her parents, my son and daughter-in-law, they wanted her to they don't want her to have a big social media footprint at this age. And I respect that.
Absolutely.
So I don't, I love her. She's there. We visit. We have fun. But I don't feature her in the blog because of their request.
Right, and a reasonable opinion at that.
It's funny you mentioned your wife. My wife, because I was retired until I got a phone call from Scott Renish saying, hey, you got to come back on the radio. So I do that, I do this, I do some high school. My wife tells me I'm the busiest retired guy she knows.
That's how I feel. I'm actually semi-retired, I would say, from practicing law. I try to keep it around 20 hours a week.
Okay.
But between that and preparing for the TV show and editing it, I do all the editing myself.
I was going to ask you about
before I
that,
send it to Channel 6. Yeah, and then of course the Channel 6 version has commercials, whereas running it on Channel 95, I take the commercials out. So there's all kinds of stuff going on behind the scenes there in order to prepare the show. Like I always look at, the shows that are on television now, like a Jennifer Hudson or Jimmy Fallon or, Jimmy Kimmel, any of those shows, right? At the end of the show, the credits go by and like 200 names go by.
How many do you have?
About 5.
Because I've seen what...
Yeah.
There is someone at the controls when you're filming your show, right?
Yes, Aaron Cadju of Bristol County Media does a great job running the cameras, and we have a switcher, and he does the whole thing right there live. Mm-hmm. And as I said, I got the band, and I got the sidekick, and the comedy director, and between all of that, we somehow make it happen.
And your payroll, your budget is?
Yeah, my budget is, yeah. I have five people go by in the credits, and I see these other shows with, hundreds of names go by. But hey, it's a labor of love. We have so much fun with that show, I can't even tell you.
Did you have to teach yourself how to do all that?
Well, a lot of it I knew from the old days of Channel 13 and all that, so some of it's similar. But then I got an editing app, and one of my sons, Andrew, he told me how to, hey, why don't you go to this editing app, and you can edit stuff yourself. And then I've had to learn too. I have an hour show, and you may remember when last time you were on my show, I took your segment out. I edited it down to a reel of about 3 minutes, and then I reposted it.
Oh yeah.
And so that gets the quick hitter reel.
I've heard a lot about reels.
I forget you said something I thought was hilarious, so I put it at the beginning of the reel, and I went with it.
And that's
you got to be able to do that stuff too.
That's the changing attention span of America.
Yeah,
TikTok has us like, if you don't grab me in 20 seconds, I'm going something else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so, which makes it challenging for us.
You got to have the shorts and the reels or whatever they call it.
Yeah, right.
To keep going. So, how long are you going to keep this going?
That's an interesting question. I don't know.
Your wife is looking at her watch, probably.
Well, sometimes I'll go, maybe let me give it one more year and see how it goes, And then, the older people used to tell us, our parents and grandparents, as you get older, it keeps going faster and faster. I think they're right about that, because I still give it one more year, and next thing you know, it's 2026 now, and it's like, oh my God, a whole year just went by.
And I was talking to someone recently about, my oldest daughter. Things like, she's always saying, you're supposed to be retired. And I say, yeah, but I like doing this stuff. And she said, no, when I can't wait till I retire. She's 34. I can't wait till I retire. And I said, well, what are you going to do? She said, well, I'll work in the garden. I'll go out to lunch with friends. And I said, that'll last 3 months. After that, you have to have someplace to go, something to do, right?
Right, and I think it's good for people as we get older. I mean, we're not super old yet, but we're getting there. It's good to exercise your mind. Mm-hmm. It's good to exercise yourself physically. It takes something to come down here, to go to the Mikey B's, to set up the setup that we have there. There's a lot of movement. I got to go down to my office for the law stuff, maybe go down to court a couple of days a week, So they always say, just keep moving. Just keep moving if you can. You know what I mean? So that's what we try to do. And by the way, I was happy to have your son on my show, Hunter.
Oh yeah, Hunter.
He's a great singer.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. He's this year moving to Nashville.
Yeah.
Probably in September, October. So
good for
his girlfriend is currently going to UMass School of Law.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So she wants to
another lawyer, huh?
Another lawyer. Yeah. So they're waiting for her to pass the bar.
Oh boy, I hated studying for that thing.
She's got that coming up in July. She takes the test in July, doesn't find out till October if she passed it.
Yeah,
so they might not be moving till October.
I remember the day that I found out that I passed. It was November 10th of 1986.
Oh, wow.
And the reason why I know it was November 10th is because November 11th, everybody was off.
Right.
So we had a little party at my
Day.
dad's house, and we popped open the champagne, and we didn't have to worry about going to work the next day.
There you go.
So there we go. So we definitely celebrated. But yeah, it takes a long time. And during that time, you're worried about it.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Have your two worlds ever collided? Like, have you ever gone into a courtroom or, I don't know, a judge says, oh, here's the funny guy. What are you going to do, a monologue?
No, I have people saying things to me when I go to court, like, hey, you're the guy isn't that Paul Santos from the TV show? Yeah, okay, blah, 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 And I always thought to myself, I wonder if I should go into, like, unfortunately we had Aaron Hernandez case or something like that.
Right.
Maybe I could comment based on, my background in radio and television about cases that were going on. But I don't know. I really didn't want to do that. I want to keep the broadcasting more fun.
So you like keeping them separate?
Yeah, keeping them separate and keeping it fun. And by the way, you were asking about, somebody in your family said, why do you run around and do all these things in retirement? I tell my wife, well, this is my golf. I have the bad back and all that. Some people, they go to a country club and they play 18 holes and they're out there for 5 hours. I'm like, oh my God, that's so boring, I'd rather be down here in the Pete Braley Show or be doing my own crazy Paul Santos live show or doing my Santos on Sports, play-by-play. I'd rather do that than play golf.
Right. Have you, are you heading down to Fort Myers again for New Bedford Days?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I got on the board, last year for the first time. So this year we're back doing that again. We encourage people to go to the Facebook page, which is New Bedfordites in Florida. And we're also working it out. So the day before New Bedford Day, which is Tuesday, I think it's March 10th, I want to say, on the Monday, we're arranging a New Bedford Day at Fenway South. So a group, can link on there, so all the New Bedford people are sitting in the same spot.
For anyone that doesn't know, this was started, I believe, by former Mayor Brian Lawler.
Yeah, and it was actually his wife's, who passed away recently. It was his wife's idea. And then he brought it, yes.
In the Fort Myers, Port Charlotte area, right?
Yeah.
Of Florida.
That's right.
They discovered there's quite a few New Bedfordites that winter down there, so they started this New Bedford Day. And I know I covered it a couple of years when I was at BSM. We worked it into a Red Sox trip where we would fly down and Neil White and I would do the morning show from JetBlue Park. We'd get
I remember that.
We'd get up at 4:30 in the morning and we'd go into this baseball stadium. There's nobody there but security and the overnight crew. And we'd go up in the press box where Joe Castiglione used to sit.
Oh, nice.
And we'd plug in and we'd do our 3 hours back to New Bedford. And then we had a couple hours before we went to the New Bedford Day. So
yeah, that's fantastic.
That's turned into quite a thing, huh? With you and Paul Santos, your Paul Santos, Phil Paleologos and Ian Abreu.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so we got a lot of people, walking around there, and it's like, we're serving linguiça and all this other stuff, and it feels like we're back in New Bedford. But we're in Fort Myers.
Right. It's a nice break for us to get out of this weather.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. So time is flown by. It always does when we do this show. But best of luck to you. Keep going with it.
Thank you very much. And don't forget, you have to come back on the Paul Santos live show.
Hey, we've done. When we can't get a guest, we call each other. No, I'm kidding.
Are you able to make it through the monologue?
I sit there sometimes and go, ooh.
I'm trying to make a slight adjustment. But I had to behest of my wife.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, soften that monologue up a little bit.
Does she sit there for every show? She's been there when I've been there.
Most of the time, yes. Yeah. Most of the time, yes.
She should
and sometimes
sit there and shake her.
Tone it down. Like, okay. She's right. She's right most of the time.
Right. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Pete.
All right. If you know of someone that you think we should have on a future show, you can let me know a number of different ways. You can message me on Facebook. I'm on X. You can find me at PeteBraley.com or email thePeteBraleyShow@gmail.com. We always leave you the thought for the day, and our thought today is, accept what is, let go of what was, and have faith in what will be. No matter what, go out and make it a great day.